Hey everyone, Kyle here from Kyle Stream Stuff. I figured I'd walk us through some of the patch notes from 1.0.8 for Throne of Lies all the way up through the current build 1.0.8D. A lot of people have been asking for a little bit of a run through, so I figured I'd make this video so I can stop saying it over and over again. Let's dive right into the notes. So this is the 1.0.8 patch. It came out on Sunday the 5th of November, and it's the patch that is most known for removing the priest class. So that is, of course, the first thing we'll go over, but there's a lot more to this patch. It was very big, and it changed a lot about the game. So here we go. First, the priest has been removed. The developer notes, most players didn't find the priest very fun, and most just waited for the prince to die before reviving anyone. The priest heavily affected balance. When it wasn't a guaranteed spawn and was convertible, games could easily swing in one faction's favor depending on whether or not the priest spawned or was converted. BD had a low win rate before the buff, 30%, and after the buff, it shot up to 60%. They were having a tough time making it fun but not overpowered, so it is removed, and the abilities have been scattered among the other classes. Moving on down the list, the Alchemist now has 4 uses of Stone Skin Potion. Court Wizard has had the Magical Barrier ability removed, and Ice Ward now has infinite charges. So that Ice Ward that prevents people from visiting a player, you can use it infinitely now, but you can only use it on any one player 2 times. They have a new Knight ability with 1 use. It's called Recharge, and it allows the Court Wizard to give charges back to another player. So let's say the prince has executed 3 people successfully. He got like a fool and 2 unseen members. So the prince should be out of executes. Well, if the court wizard recharges the prince will get 1 execute back. It does not work if the prince has executed a blue dragon. That charge cannot be refunded. The drunk has a new passive, as does the alcoholic, which is the unseen version of the drunk. They're immune to occupation at night. And debauchery works differently now. It used to be that debauchery would force your target to target you, the drunk. Now, when you debauch a player, all players targeting the debauched player instead have their attacks and conversion attempts redirected to the drunk. And the drunk is immune from all redirected attacks and conversions. This means if you attack the drunk directly, you can still kill him, but if you attack the target he's protecting, nothing will happen. The Fool has also received a change. No longer does the Fool have the surprise mojo. He can't replace your stuff with fireworks. You can't be occupied. Instead, he has a new ability called Hide, which prevents people from visiting you at night. Just another way to make yourself suspicious. The Herbalist, which is the unseen version of the Physician, has had a change made to their drug ability. Drug used to make it appear as if you had been attacked and healed, but there was a side effect. It also made it appear as if your bleeding or poison was healed, which was causing some confusion when players would then die from bleeding or poison that they didn't know they had. So now it doesn't show as your bleeding and poison being healed. It just says you've been attacked and you have been healed. The King has seen some changes. Now, both evil and neutral kings will see exactly what faction a player is playing for. How it was before, the neutral king could see Blue Dragon neutral or unseen and cult. It would tell them exactly what it was. The other kings would just see ally or not ally. Now the evil king also gets the benefit of seeing exactly what faction a player is playing for. The Mastermind now appears as occupied when someone tries to occupy them. That was always an easy way to root out the Mastermind. There's only so many occupy immune classes, and usually the Mastermind isn't claiming something that lines up with that line of investigation. So now it shows them as being occupied, but they are still occupy immune. So the Mastermind gets to do what they do at night, and the occupier will think that it worked. The Noble and Aristocrat have seen major changes as well in 1.0.8. They used to be a whisper-heavy class dealing in secrets. Now they deal in votes. Private Matter, the ability that made whispers to and from the noble invisible, is gone, as is the Spy Made, which is the ability that you could set on a player during the day and see all the whispers to and from them. Now, they have an ability called Political Pressure. During the day, you can force a player to accuse another player of treason and block further voting from that player. Two uses. So essentially, you can force a vote. There's also a new day ability called Noble Twin. During a vote, so once someone's already been put up on trial, and now you're voting for execution or pardon, during that vote, you can make your vote count twice. This is huge, especially during those late game votes where Unseen thinks they have the number advantage and they're trying to execute like the prince or something like that. You can be the player who holds it in line for the blue dragons. And there's a new knight ability called Royal Decree. This makes a player the following day immune to treason accusations. This is very strong late game for protecting or for preventing that same sort of thing, or early game when sometimes people accidentally vote up the prince or the psychic or an important role that you don't want outed. Now you can just throw this on them. They don't have to worry about telling people who they are, as long as you know who they are. The psychic has taken over some of the priest's former responsibilities, insofar as the psychic has a new passive, Call the Dead. At night, the psychic can talk to the dead, just like the priest used to be able to. Their Link Minds now only links the psychic to one other player, but both the psychic and that player at night talk to the dead. So that's a pretty cool ability. The psychic also now has Private Matter, the former noble ability, but they have it as a daytime ability. So they are able to activate it during the day, and all whispers to and from the psychic are hidden from the public. This only has 2 charges, unlike when it was on the noble. The Illusionist, which is the evil version of the psychic, also has Private Matter as a day ability. Both the psychic and Illusionist have lost Misdirect, which is the ability that forces a vote. That has gone to the noble, and in return they've gotten that Private Matter ability. The Physician has also seen a pretty significant change. They can no longer exhume a body to see what killed that player. Now they reanimate. So they can bring a Blue Dragon player back to life as a Death Knight. So no matter what they were while they were alive, they come back as a Death Knight. Death Knight is a new class, and the only way to be a Death Knight is to be reanimated by a Physician. A Death Knight is undead, and what this means is they are immune to occupation, conversion, and death at night. They're immune to nightshade and bleeding, they're immune to reap, and they're immune to possess. They're basically unkillable, unless you vote them out during the day. The only other way they die is by rotting. This is their other passive. They die 3 nights after being revived. So you get an extra life, but it's on a timer. Other than that, they function as a knight with limited use abilities. They have Sacrifice, which is the standard knight guarding ability. You protect a player. If someone attacks the player you're protecting, you and the attacker die. You can use that 2 times. And then there's the other knight ability called Cold Steel. You just attack a player, basically. If they're not a blue dragon, you'll kill them. If they are a blue dragon, you'll kill yourself. So because you're only alive for 3 nights, and you only have 3 uses of abilities, easy choosing. Cold Steel when you need to, otherwise just guard. Other than that, there were some bug fixes. Troll box messages can now be highlighted, so that's a huge quality of life improvement for Fools and Scorned players. Fixed a bug with the Mastermind dying before day 4, causing dead players to appear alive. I never saw that one, but that would be a huge issue. Fixed an issue where the Merc didn't commit suicide if both of his contracted players died. And fixed a bug with Dirty Work where abilities wouldn't appear the first night you're the assassin. Which, again, would be a huge issue if you're trying to win, because if you need to use Dirty Work, the ability that allows the Mastermind to take over the role of assassin, you're already probably not in a very good spot. And that's basically it for 1.0.8. So let's go through some of the updates, and then talk about the implications of the patch overall. So, shortly after the initial patch, we got 1.0.8a, which fixed class cards. There was an issue initially where you couldn't look at the class cards, so now you're able to look at those again, and a few ability bugs got fixed. 1.0.8b came out shortly thereafter, also on Sunday. And it fixed Decide Fate, the king ability, and also made it so that a Death Knight cannot become king, which is important because Death Knights, as it turns out, new class, they were a little out of whack. 1.0.8c was the next one, also just bug fixes, nothing really major there. And of course that brings us to 1.0.8d, the current patch, and this had a big change just balance-wise for the Death Knight. Now, only one Death Knight can be alive at a time. If a physician tries to reanimate another Death Knight while there is already one alive, that reanimation will fail. They also removed the statement in the Reaper's class card that Reaped players cannot be revived by a priest. Makes sense, there isn't a priest anymore. And Reaped players can be revived by a physician. Also, this patch gave the Hunter 3 uses of their Bear Companion ability. So what does all this mean? What does it change? How does it feel? Well, it feels way better than it used to. I totally agree with removing the priest. I think that was a great change. Having the physician as the revive is awesome because it lends both more power to a role that was a little to play, and it also, because physician is a common alchemist claim, makes alchemist an even easier class to play, especially in this metagame that tends to be a little wary of neutral players. It's always good to have an out, I guess, as a neutral. The Psychic also feels more fun now. Being able to talk to the dead is very strong, and something I think will be looked at as time goes on as well. But I think it's pretty good right where it stands. I like the ability to link one player and have them talk to the dead. Death Knights overall feel great. It's cool that you're able to come back and you don't feel like you're pressured into reviving the prince or saving it for that one special person, you know. Everyone comes back as a Death Knight, so there's no reason to try to wait out the end of the game or save it until the priest dies or the prince dies. There's none of that. You just res when you need to, and that player gets to play as a Death Knight, which is a very fun class. Knights in general, I think, are in a good spot right now. Then there's the Noble, which is a class that I loved before this patch. I really enjoyed that sort of dealing in secrets and listening in on whispers and having your own secret conversations and figuring it all out and trying not to out yourself too hard. That felt so fun. And this new Noble is still fun in a different way, but I do miss all those mechanics dealing with whispers, and I hope that they get reintegrated into the game, or really what I hope is they get concentrated into one character again. I would not mind seeing a class that becomes the new Secret Keeper. All in all, great patch. It fixed a lot that was feeling wrong, and so if you haven't had a chance to go out there and play it, please do. And if you've been confused about why certain things are happening, where is the priest, why isn't he rezzing the prince, what's going on, well, there you go. There's the patch notes. I'll try to make a video like this every time there are major changes, but I'm obviously not going to go through and make a new video each time they fix some bugs or something of that nature. Otherwise, stay tuned right here on my YouTube channel. Check out my Twitter, the link's down below, and as always, you can come watch me stream more often than not over at Kyle Streams Stuff on twitch.tv. Thanks for hanging out, and maybe I'll see you in game sometime. Bye.